Jaws. I know most of you probably think of dread, fear of being in the water, but for Hollywood executives in 1975, this was the sound of money. Jaws is the movie that created the concept of the summer movie blockbuster. So for over 46 years, you can thank The Shark That Didn't Work and a young and up-and-coming director, Steven Spielberg, for creating the phenomenon of the blockbuster that we go every summer to see. How did this happen? This was a movie that was supposed to be what is called a B-movie, which is like a fluff, action, scary, something for the summer entertainment. This movie broke monetary records and became a phenomenon worldwide in 1975, creating an economic concept. So we're just gonna step back in time here a little bit, back to 1975, with a little bit of Jaws history, a little bit of an economics lesson, and why this relates to the movies you see every summer. So back in 1975, according to the Nielsen's television audience report, there was one television per 57 households, US households. So only a little more than half of the people in America actually owned a TV. At this time, bell-bottom pants were really big. You may have owned a pet rock, or maybe you've given one as a gift. Top 100 billboard, you may have been listening to Sister Golden Hair by America, or Love Will Keep Us Together by Captain and Tennille. This was a different time. Movies were not marketed the way they are today. There was no Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, no actors reporting on their movies, no spoilers. Movies came out, they were reviewed in the paper usually. Maybe you may have had a television critic. You might have seen someone on the nightly news telling you about the latest movie. But most of the time it was word of mouth, and you saw it in the paper and you went to go see it, or maybe your friend said, don't go see that. So at this time, in this pre-internet world, most people got this information this way. Television, a little bit, newspaper. Very few people actually read what we would have today of the Entertainment Weekly magazines. There was the Variety and the Hollywood Reporter. So very little information about movies was out there. Trying to think, instead of, now here we are 46 years later, you were bombarded with this information on a daily basis. Back in December, they were telling you what you will be going to see in the summer of the next year. So how did Jaws create this concept in becoming a blockbuster? One of the first things was that there was a book. It was based on a book that came out in 1974 by an author named Peter Benchley. It was on the New York Times bestseller list that year. So basically the book was a giant ad for the movie. It was very popular. Second was in advertising. Again, most people were just getting to the point where they owned a television set. So advertising on television was a new concept. For Jaws, they did a huge television campaign. According to the Hollywood Reporter, 30-second ads ran on every channel up to the night of the weekend release. 23 popular television shows, including Happy Days, The Waltons, and The Rockford Files, were shown so frequently, these commercials, that pretty much that 57% of the populace that owned a TV, they saw that advertised a lot. This was not common. There was some advertising, as I said, but not at this level of this constant bombardment, which today we go, great, another commercial for that movie. I really don't want to see it, but everybody was like, this sounds interesting. Also at this time, there wasn't a lot of the mass marketing. You might have seen an actor go and be on the Dinah Shore show, or something, to the equivalent of Oprah later on. There was also a huge boon for them in that Time magazine decided to write up about Jaws. And there unfortunately happened to have been a great white shark attack about that time. So they had the cover of Time magazine. So that was another big, basically free advertisement. Today, when movies are released, they're on thousands of screens. In 1975, you may have been on a few hundred screens. Jaws was released on 409 screens, which was a huge amount of screens for the mid-70s. The movie itself, opening weekend, made $7,061,513 within 3 days on 409 screens. To us, that sounds like very little. The movie itself was 100% of our budget. It was supposed to be a $4 million movie. It cost $8 million to make, and they made their money that opening weekend. That just didn't happen. So right there, the industry is paying attention to what is going on. Within 59 days, the movie was on 954 screens. So within 2 months, they doubled the screens the movie was shown on. Again, this was not what happened back in the 70s. Today, we go to a theater that has 23 theaters. You go to Jordan Creek, giant movie theater complex. Back in the 70s, you went to a theater that maybe held 100, 200 people. People were standing in line around the theaters for hours to see a movie based off of word of mouth. So that turned into what was called Jaws Mania, and it was a worldwide phenomenon. By the end of the summer, the movie had grossed $470,653,000. Now, if you adjust that for inflation today, Jaws was in the billion-dollar movie club. As of last year, end of 2016, the Business Insider ranked Jaws number 7 of the top movies for this billion-dollar club. So even like 46 years later, that movie is still ranked up there in the top movies for making money. Gone with the Wind, by the way, is still number 1. So when you think about the movies that you've seen today, can you even remember what the blockbusters were 2 or 3 years ago? They were there, and maybe we've forgotten them, but we probably saw them in the theater. And that's what they want. They want to get you in those seats. Director Eli Roth said, anyone who wants to make a big Hollywood blockbuster movie was certainly inspired by Jaws. The long-lasting impact of Jaws on Hollywood isn't just the monetary amount. It's what it did to the concept of movie making, especially movie making in the summer. People did not go to movies like they do today. People went, but not in the record numbers and not for the obscene amount of money that they make off these movies that they do now. Many of these people who were teenagers, or maybe later on they saw movies like Jaws on cable television, were inspired. Other directors besides Eli Roth, Bryan Singer, Kevin Smith, and Steven Soderbergh are a few directors who said that they were directly inspired by Jaws, got them interested in making movies, and subsequently they have become later generations of movie directors, creating more blockbusters. Part of the impact, again, with the summer blockbuster is some of them have amazing longevity. Right after Jaws, 2 years later, a little movie came out, a little sci-fi movie called Star Wars. Totally changed the industry again. There are documentaries on how that movie changed the movie industry. But 2 years before that, Jaws actually got the ball rolling and started creating the phenomenon with merchandising. They still make t-shirts. They still to this day make action figures. And people have actually gone to great lengths to find the props from the film. Actually, that's a whole genre of collectibles right there, is people digging up things from movies that were at one point considered worthless. So the blockbusters create these fandoms, the revenue streams that come from the merchandise. All of these were new concepts in the 70s when Jaws came out. Later on, Jaws even had a ride at Universal Studios in California. It also had a ride in the Universal Studios in Florida, which alas was recently torn down due to Harry Potter. Yes, another massive, not necessarily summer blockbuster, but another movie that created its own world and even has its own theme park. So Jaws now, 46 years later, is still relevant, even though it seems like it's a cheesy movie with a mechanical shark that didn't work. It actually did earn 3 Oscars at the 1975 Oscars. It was sound editing, film editing, and the music score by John Williams. So even as we go on with blockbusters, at this point in time, Hollywood is taking it from a we didn't expect this to happen to a we want this to happen. Every summer we need to have our blockbusters. They're telling you in December, here come your summer blockbusters. They advertise it to us, again, in all these media forms that we didn't have 40-some years ago. But the legacy of this particular movie still stands. So no matter how Hollywood tries to woo the movie going public, it's still the movies that you choose to see that make those blockbusters. So by telling you to stay out of the water, it actually worked. Instead, they got you to stay in your movie seat.